Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Gloucester Zoning Board of Appeals meeting of May 29th, 2025. This meeting is being held as a hybrid, meaning it's an in-person meeting where anyone can speak, but we also have a Zoom connection, which allows public that aren't here to participate. For the record, the Zoom meeting ID is 825-1338-6033. I recognize in attendance myself, Joseph Parisi, Michael Nyman, Peter Canavo, James Gelati, Lauren Norton, and I declare we have a quorum. First order of business is the approval of the minutes of May 8th, 2025. Any corrections or omissions? No, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion for the approval of the minutes of May 8th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are accepted. Moving to our consent agenda, which is the approval of decisions that have come in and giving the chair permission to sign on behalf of the board. Those decisions are 65 Atlantic Road, 84 Thatcher Road, 10 Davis Street, 49 Two Penny Lane, 114 Wheeler Street, 21 High Poples Road, and 43 Ye Old County Road. And I will entertain a motion to approve those unless anyone requests something be pulled.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? They're approved. Our first application tonight, and we have 7 public hearings. I'll remind everyone to participate when it comes time for public testimony. You come up right up to the podium. If you're participating on Zoom, you use your raise hand device on your computer, or if you're on a phone, you dial *9, and then we'll recognize you and call you into the meeting. Our first application is Jeff Porkarak and Courtney Dunn for a special permit and/or variance to add an addition and second floor to the residence at 7 Lighthouse Way.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Pokerock, and this is my partner, Courtney Dunn. And we're brand new, bigger.
Yeah, for the record, for the Zoom, you have to be right on it.
Okay, so, sure, we are now we're brand new residents here at 9 Atlantic Road in East Gloucester. So as you can see from the permit request, we have purchased a house at 7 Lighthouse Way, and we are seeking to change some aspects of it, but not other aspects of it, to make it more suitable for us and our families. And therefore, we're here to, first of all, answer any questions you might have. And also, the designer and architect is here who would be happy to make a presentation and show some of the design and plans if that would be helpful to you.
Okay, if you could,
I think for me, point of clarification, I think they only need a special permit to alter and expand. You don't need a variance, I'm pretty sure.
This is a special permit
Yep.
request. Yeah.
and could you, or your designer, just clarify the placement on the lot that's requiring the relief, being the left and rear yard? And
Thank you. Daniel Anderson, Anderson Porter Design, 1972 Massachusetts Avenue in Cambridge, Mass.
Thank you.
So the relief in question is on the both right and left side. We have 2 non-conforming setbacks, rear and left. The rear is 4 feet off the rear corner. And at that point, we are simply increasing the height of that room. There's a very low ceiling. It gets down to below 6 feet at its corner. And then probably the more significant piece is at the side yard setback, which is at 5.4 feet to an existing overhang. So the proposal is to extend that side of the house to meet that same existing overhang. There's also an areaway, which we're considering to access the basement space.
Both of those would be definitely an increase in the nonconformity.
Yeah, thank you for that. So some communities say it's not making it any more than the dimensional. Others say it's additional space within that, not that.
I think we think about it as volume, that you're increasing the volume.
Perfect. So that meets the
In
criteria.
the non-conforming area.
Thank you. So that meets the requirement of needing a special
Sure.
permit.
Yep.
So
Okay, any other questions up front? We can take some public testimony. You can have a seat, and we'll go from there. Is there anyone in the audience or at home wishing to speak in favor of the application? If you're in favor, please come forward. If you're on Zoom, hit your raise hand button. We'll be able to find you. You don't have to raise your hand. You just come on up if you want to speak on anything. We will need your name and address to start.
Good evening. My name is Steve McCarthy. My address is 33 Thatcher Road, and I own the property at 3 Lighthouse Way. And I was notified of this through the mail, and I think it's a great addition to our neighborhood. It's a very eclectic neighborhood, and that house needed some good work. And I think they're doing a nice job with the design.
Thank you. Anyone else in favor? Seeing none, is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the special permit? Any opposition? No? Seeing none, we'll close public testimony. There'll be no need for rebuttal. Discussion by the board.
Pretty straightforward. Good project. Modest. I don't have a problem with that.
I can make a motion if you want.
Sure.
Application of Jeff Korak, hopefully I said that right, and Courtney Dunn for a special permit to alter and expand non-conforming structure to add an addition and second floor for the residents at 7 Lighthouse Way. As I was discussing with you earlier, it is an increase in the non-conforming nature of the building. I don't believe it's substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood, so I would move approval of the special permit.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded on a special permit to alter and expand. We're all in presence, so we don't need a roll call. We'll have all in favor.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. You've been approved. We will write a decision and get it out to you as soon as possible. Thank you. Our second hearing tonight is the application of Dale Avenue LLC for a special permit and/or variance to convert the mixed-use building to a 4-family residential unit use with an office at 23 Dale. Attorney Ellison?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Deborah Ellison, Ellison Law Office, 63 Middle Street, Gloucester. The applicant is Dale Avenue LLC, and James McKenna is here tonight on behalf of the applicant. The architect is Terramina Architects, and Joe Terramina is also here tonight. If I may share my screen, Mr. Chairman?
Please.
The applicant, this is a picture of the property, and the applicant is seeking numerous variances, but they are for all existing conditions. The applicant is converting the main building on the site, which is presently permitted for 2 residential units and 3 offices, to 4 residential units, and is seeking to permit 1 office above the detached garage. Only the conversion of the office building is before you tonight. The conversion to 4 residential units will go before the city council. The variances, as I said, which are listed here, are all for existing conditions. There are no new encroachments into the setbacks. We are also seeking a special permit under 2.3.4 subsection 1 for conversion of the garage to an office building, and special permit under 2.3.7 clause 21 for customary accessory uses of a kitchenette and a bathroom related to the office unit. The use of this building has evolved over time. In 1983, attorneys Sanford and Laramie received a special permit to convert the property from a residential dwelling to 4 offices. And in 1998, a special council permit was granted to allow 3 offices with 2 residential apartments. The current proposal will convert the main building to all residential uses once again and maintain 1 office in the garage space. This is a site plan. Because this is a change in use, we do need variances for existing conditions. The footprint of the main building and the garage will remain the same, and Mr. McSweeney intends to maintain the exterior features of the house for the most part, and the architect will briefly explain those to you. A second story will be added to the garage to house a private office, and the 2 garage bays will remain. You could see that the lot has 3 front yards. It has Dale Avenue and Prospect Street, which are both public ways, and Franklin Square, which is a private way. Vehicular access is off of Franklin Square. The parking exceeds the required parking. There are 7 parking spaces, outside spaces, and there is 1 compliant space in the garage. There is also 1 smaller space in the garage that is usable but just doesn't meet the zoning requirements. There are 4 residential spaces required, 4 parking spaces required for the residents, 2 spaces for the office. That leaves 2 extra compliant spaces and the extra smaller space. I'd like to turn the presentation over to Mr. Terramino to explain how the building's going to change.
Sorry. Joseph Taramina Architects. I'm at 10B Riverview Way in Gloucester. And I'll give you a brief overview of the changes, proposed changes to the main building and the detached garage. A little bit of overlap of what Deborah had said, but the 2 existing businesses on the first floor will be converted into 2 residential units. Each unit will have some basement living space, and therefore we have some egress window wells to provide the emergency exit for those basement bedrooms. The existing porch, there's an existing porch on the Franklin Square side, which will be enclosed for living space. The 2 existing residential units on the floors 2 and 3 will remain residential, as Deborah had said. Each unit will receive an exterior deck space at the 2nd floor level, and they will be above those there's a porch on the south side, the parking lot side, and then on the east side, which is the Franklin Square side. Those 2 areas have flat roofs, and they will become decks for the upper units to have some exterior space. One of the decks, the one on the Franklin Square side, will have a spiral stair down to the driveway level also. There are 2 massive chimneys, and they're proposed to be removed in order to accommodate the interior layouts. The roof of the basement access, now this is on the east side facing the Franklin Square side again, has to be rebuilt. That's noted on the, well, it's not on the survey plan, but on the architectural. It's really just to allow the stormwater to shed a little bit better and have it flow away from the building. Each of the 4 units will have secured storage in the basement, plus there's also an opportunity for bicycle storage. The basement will also contain the fire sprinkler room, 2 one-story areas. Again, I had mentioned those. There's one on the south side, on the driveway side, and the one on the Franklin Square side. They're supported on piers right now, so we're proposing to do a permanent concrete foundation under those 2 just to protect plumbing and keep critters out and make it weather tight. So other than the 2 new decks, 2 new 2nd floor decks, the exterior will generally remain the same. There's vinyl siding that will remain, will be replaced with new vinyl siding. There's a lot of painted wood trim that will be cleaned up and a lot of Victorian details that will remain. The goal is to maintain all those exterior details and replace as needed. The spiral stair and the basement window wells are the only changes to the building's footprint. Over at the detached garage, the roof will be removed and a new second floor will be constructed. The stairway that goes up will take away from one of the spots in the garage, as Deborah had said, and it's really because of the new stair to get us up to the second floor private office. The existing exterior stucco wall finish will be removed and new vinyl installed so that it matches the main building. The goal is for the exterior finishes to match and coordinate with the main building. So we will have a little bit of that Victorian detail there. And that's kind of the overview of the architectural changes to the two buildings. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taramina. In addition to the variances and special permits that we're requesting from the zoning board, we will also be seeking relief from the city council for, as I said, the conversion to a 4-family, relief for height, which is existing at 39.4 feet and will remain that way. The new garage will be under the required height at around 26.5 feet. The reduction in lot area will also need relief. However, open space per unit is compliant. We will also be seeking a certificate of appropriateness from the Historic District Commission because this building is in the Historic District. Mr. McSweeney sent out letters to all of the legal abutters. We've received 2 written letters of support. They were not received in time to submit them to your package. We received one from Dr. Michael Powers, who owns property at 18 and 26 Dale Avenue, and also from the owner of 17 Franklin Square. Mr. McSweeney met with 3 of the unit owners at 19 Dale Avenue, and they were also in support of the project. And they are the closest neighbors to the garage addition. We are not aware of any opposition. Now I'll just go through the legal requirements. The variances may be granted without substantial harm to the public good and do not substantially undercut the purpose of the ordinance. Variances are for existing conditions, and the only reason the variances are needed is because of the change in use. The substantial hardship is the lot shape, having 3 front yards, as well as pre-existing conditions. The buildings were constructed around 1900 before there was zoning, and they were constructed very close to the lot lines. The setback encroachments are due to these locations. We will add residential units that are sorely needed by the city. And since the office market has softened somewhat due to the trend of people working from home, in contrast, the housing market has risen. For these reasons, the variances do not substantially undercut the purposes of the ordinance and do not harm the public good. With regard to 1.8.3 criteria, the proposed change of the garage to an office use is in harmony with the intent and purpose of the ordinance. The GZO allows conversion of the garage to an office space with a special permit. It also, the amenities of a kitchenette, a sink, and a dishwasher, as well as a 3/4 bath, are customary features that are allowed by special permit. And I would suggest that none of these will adversely affect the neighborhood, the R5 district, or the city. Social and economic community needs will be served by this change in use. The main building will remove the offices and become all residential units. Converting the garage to the office retains a mixed-use nature of the property. And the kitchen and 3/4 bath are customary for an office. These days, many people take the opportunity to exercise during the day, and thus it is important to have a shower available at the office. Traffic flow and safety impacts will be negligible. More than the required conforming parking. The removal of the 2 offices will also lessen the traffic coming to and from the site. And the private office, since it is a private office, there won't be any members of the public coming to that office. The adequacy of public utilities will not be negatively affected. No substantial increase in demand on the utilities from the office use. The proposed office is consistent with neighborhood character and the social structure. This neighborhood is predominantly mixed commercial and residential properties, and many are residential combinations. The qualities of the natural environment will not be negatively affected. The footprints of the buildings remain the same, and there are no wetlands or other conservation resource areas, and there is adequate open space for the residential units. There may be positive fiscal impact. The building will be improved and therefore may add modestly to the tax revenues for the city. And there is no vulnerability to flooding or flood damage, even taking into consideration sea level rise. This building is not located within the flood zone. So we would respectfully request that you grant the variances as well as the special permits, and we're happy to answer any questions.
I'm just wondering if you take 2 minutes, go back through specifically which special permits you need and which variances you need.
So with regard to variances, we need a lot area variance of 746 square feet. The residential building, we need a front yard variance of 12.7 feet on Prospect Street and 16.7 feet on Franklin Square. For the office building, we need a front yard variance of 14.3 feet on Franklin Square side, a right side yard variance of 5.3 feet, and a rear yard variance of 18.4 feet, and vegetative coverage variance of 18%.
These are all existing conditions.
All existing conditions. The special permit 2.3.4 subsection 1 is for the conversion of the garage to a office building, and special permit 2.3.7 clause 27 is for the customary accessory uses of a kitchenette and a 3/4 bath.
You can leave
Are
that up
we-
if you would, please. If you can just leave this up.
Sure.
Are we leaving off a special permit for the height of an accessory structure?
It's conforming.
Forget
Not the
that.
main
No,
house.
No, no, I understand. I
The
spoke too quick.
accessory structure doesn't meet the required setback, so
It-
over 12 feet, wouldn't it need a special permit?
It is actually not an accessory structure, it is a principal structure. And there can be two principal buildings on a site that has multifamily. My client actually would have preferred to have the garage as an apartment, but with a single-family home, there is that prohibition that you cannot have two principal buildings on one lot.
Let's see what the,
That'd be something that'd be taken.
no, because, I mean, the variances and all that are ours before, they're the conversion before. I mean, I do question the accessory uses of the kitchenette and bath. We've been pretty tough on that over the years.
Also,
I mean, why is this not a rental a month later? When, as was stated, there's less demand for office space and more for residential. But anyway, why don't we take some public testimony first? And then we can discuss that. Is there anyone in the audience or on Zoom wishing to speak in favor of the application? If you're here, come up. If you're on Zoom, hit your raise hand button. Seeing none, is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Nope. Don't see anyone. Will close public testimony. Discussion by the board or more questions?
I think probably similar feeling to you. Both of us been on for a while. Not a big fan of the kitchen. Not a real big fan of the 3/4 bath, but I can probably tolerate the 3/4 bath without a kitchen. So those are my initial thoughts.
I mean, it is customary, like, to have a place for coffee and, I mean, wash your dishes, your lunch stuff, microwave probably, dishwasher, I don't know, but I know what you mean. It's
But what constitutes a kitchen versus,
typically a cooking stove. A stove makes it a kitchen, right, Mr. Building Commissioner?
So I don't see a need personally, and I'm interested in what other people have to say. I don't see a need for a stove in an office.
And I don't think there is one.
No, may I clarify that, Mr. Chairman?
Just a sink and a
A
dish.
sink and a dishwasher.
No, I didn't think those,
Yes.
a stove
No
would
stove.
make it a real kitchen.
No stove.
So I guess, yeah, I'm not too hepped up about that, but anyway, I see what you mean. Any other discussion, questions?
Yeah,
Everybody
so
good?
just so everybody understands, the concern is rental, right? The concern is a dwelling, not an office. That's sort of what our conversation is about here.
It has a proposed 3/4 bath. Like
Yeah,
you,
we've
it's one or
been-
the other, right? I don't think it should have it.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean-
we've been tougher on the showers than on
Right, I
anything,
don't think.
you know.
We've
Once you-
allowed them. I think, I'm trying to think of some other ones similar. Actually, an old client of mine, when I was a builder, over on, I think it was on Shore Road, detached garage, we allowed an office over the top, and allowed a shower.
I think I remember when it was like a gym, or they used it as a gym space, and they wanted a shower there. But that was for single family use. And
That was a single-family home with a detached garage, so not exactly the same as here, but.
I'm okay. I mean, if everybody else is.
Yeah, so if it was, I mean, there's a single egress, right, which is allowed for an office, would not be allowed.
Yeah, to have a
For-
second means of egress, they'd have to come back.
Yeah, so any different use of that space above that garage, you'd have to come back here anyway, or you'd be illegal, so, okay, yeah.
Okay. Nobody else has anything? We'll entertain a motion.
Jeff, can you
And
put that back up for me,
as
just
we-
when I make a motion?
yes, we can make sure we
Please.
get everything in the motion.
Yep.
Sorry, it's kicked me out. I think I need to be added in as a panelist. I was.
it's on.
I do have them listed on my notes. Would that be easy for you to read through?
That was just such a nice,
I know. If you'll give me a minute, I can get there. I just have to get back in.
it would be worth just getting it on the record, that's all, it's quite a bit of stuff.
Absolutely. Okay. There we go.
Application of Dale Avenue LLC seeking following variances: lot area, front yard setback, front yard Prospect Street, Franklin Square, and for the, this would be for the residential building, for the office building, front yard, Franklin Square, right side yard, and rear yard, and then vegetative cover. So seeking relief variances for all of those. Those are all existing conditions. I would move approval of all of those variances for the reasons that you stated. And then 2 special permits are needed. I'd move approval for both. Special permit under GZO 2.3.4, parentheses 1, conversion of a garage to an office building, and then special permit GZO 2.3.721, customary accessory uses of kitchenette and the bathroom. These would both be for the garage. I'd move. yeah, it just says bathroom, yeah, three-quarter bathroom. I'd move approval of both of those special permits, also for the reasons that you outlined in 1.8.3. You'd make sure those are in your decision. I'd move approval for those as well.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried, 5-0. We'll appreciate a draft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board.
Thank you.
Okay, our next application tonight is Ellen L. Crane, a trustee, for a special permit and/or variance to renovate the residence and add a deck at 3 Plum Court. This is being represented by Aiden, I believe.
Good evening. I'm just hoping to be added in as a panelist so I can share.
Nice
You
and
gotta
loud,
get in the
yeah.
mic.
Nice and loud in that mic.
Sorry, just hoping to be added in as a panelist so I can share my screen, please. Okay, good evening. For the record, my name is Aiden Church. I'm an attorney with Seaside Legal Solutions, address 123 Main Street here in Gloucester. I'm here tonight on behalf of Ellen Crane, who is the trustee owner of 3 Plum Court, which is also known by the city as 1 Plum Court. So we're here tonight seeking a special permit for the interior renovation of a pre-existing non-conforming single-family home, along with a deck addition to the right side of the structure, and a second level deck, which is partially within the front yard setback on the Plum Street side, and a partial expansion of the second floor roof over said deck. So by way of background, we're in the R20 district. It's a pre-existing non-conforming structure on a non-conforming lot. The lot itself is undersized, and the principal structure encroaches into the Plum Court front yard setback, and then partially into what's considered the right side yard setback. It's a corner lot, so the right side yard would be from the Washington Street side. I'll get into a little more detail on that on the next slide. There's a non-conforming garage in the rear of the structure, and the two structures presently lack adequate separation. There's around 6 foot 7 inches, 6.7 feet, excuse me, existing between structures where 20 feet is required in the R20 district. So as I mentioned, we're seeking a special permit to alter and expand under GZO section 2.4.3. And this should need only a special permit, no variances for the following reasons. As I mentioned, it's a corner lot. So the actual buildable envelope of the lot is shown as the dashed blue line on this slide. What's shown on the left is the Plum Court front yard. What's shown on the top is the left side yard setback area. What's shown on the right is the right side yard setback area. And then what's shown below is the Washington Street front yard, which is out of screen because it's conforming in that respect and not really relevant to any of the work. So what's shaded in red is the actual expansion upon the current footprint of the structure. So that is the right side yard deck addition. So as you can see, we're very close to that setback line on that right side yard, but we are over that line. So it is presently non-conforming with respect to that right side yard setback area. So again, while we are increasing that non-conformity, we are not creating a new non-conformity, so a variance should not be required. The second level deck is wholly within that green area, and then there's a partial expansion, 6 foot 6 inch expansion of the second level deck, which again is wholly within the footprint of the existing structure, but it is in that Plum Court front yard setback area, so that would probably also be considered an expansion of the pre-existing nonconformity. And then lastly, at the bottom of the screen there's a front stair addition, which is completely non-conforming with respect to that the Plum Court front yard setback area. So I have the full plan set here. There's a close-up of the site plan, cover page. Here's the architectural site plan where you see that side yard where I mentioned we are very close to that side yard setback area, but we do only have a 19.9-foot side yard. So we're short of the full 20 feet. So we are, again, non-conforming with respect to that right side yard setback area. You can see that right there on this version of the site plan. So here's the floor plan for the first level. What's in red is all new work in terms of that's mostly interior, but on the top of the screen there is the deck addition which goes beyond the existing footprint of the structure. And here's the second level floor plan. As you can see that there's some new deck work there, but it is wholly within the footprint of the existing structure in that respect. And here are the elevation plans. You can go back if you have any questions with regard to these. Here's an aerial view. So the entirety of the expansion on the footprint is in that north area between the principal structure and the garage. So here's a view of the present structure. And then here is that side. So the standard for a special permit to alter and expand is that the work, first the board must find that the work will increase the non-conforming nature of the single family structure. And if so, that work cannot be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming conditions. Here, as I mentioned, the second level deck is wholly within the existing footprint, and the front stair is no closer to Plum Court than the existing footprint of the structure. So we're not expanding the nonconformity in that respect, but the right side yard deck addition will increase that right side yard nonconformity. So we do think that the board will find that there is an increase in the nonconforming nature of the structure. So here's just that plan again, if you have any questions. Then when you find that it does increase the nonconforming nature of the structure, you must find that it's not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing. Again, we're not getting any closer to the Plum Court property line with regard to the second level deck or that front stair addition. And then where we are expanding the nonconforming nature of the structure on the right side, there's a large vegetated border between the two properties, which we would take a condition to maintain that border should the board feel that that's necessary. So here's just a picture of that vegetated border, which would shade, again, that addition is mostly on the north side there. So where the structures are relatively close to each other, that vegetated cover should provide sufficient shielding. So again, we're just requesting a special permit to alter and expand, and that is all. Thanks.
You, questions? I think that is the increase in justification for the increase in nonconformity, and therefore the special permit requirement. I don't think the two-part test, it clearly is an increase in nonconformity.
Yeah, no, I don't have an issue with
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, no, I did fail to mention that we are decreasing the separation between buildings, but because we are non-conforming already with respect to that separation, that should be covered by the same special permit. Yeah.
Okay, we'll take public testimony. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? Anyone in favor, come forward, or if you're online, raise your hand. Seeing none. Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the project? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Ready for discussion or a motion?
Yes. Application of Ellen L. Crane, trustee, seeking a special permit 2.4.3 to alter and expand non-conforming structure. I would move approval for the reasons stated. I think it is increasing the nonconformity. Sometimes amazes me the borderline difference between a variance and a special permit, but I think if you are in that setback, as you've said, then you are expanding an existing nonconformity. So I think it is more nonconforming. I don't believe it's substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood, so I'd move approval of that with the caveat that the shading would remain. Vegetative cover would remain, yes.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the special permit with the one condition. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed 5-0. Appreciate a draft from Seaside.
Thank you.
Okay, next hearing is the application of John J. Kilbane Jr., 7 Riggs Point Road. They're applying for a special permit and/or variance to construct a detached garage.
Good evening. John J. Kilben Jr. I live at 7 Riggs Point Road. I reside at 7 Riggs Point Road. And I was looking for a variance to build a garage on my property in the backyard, which was, originally I was looking at a 28 by 28 with a shed roof to the side of a carport, somewhat of a carport. The reason for this garage is, to garage the vehicles that we have, as well as a second floor for storage, strictly storage. So there would be strictly electricity to the garage, and that would be it. There would be no running water, no heat. It'd just be a basic garage. Now, initially, my plan was to build a 28 by 28. And with that, I was into the buffer zone by about 2'6" from the 10-foot buffer zone to my south side of my property. And I've had a conversation with my neighbor, who is also a builder, and I decided that I'd be willing to bring that down to a 26 by 28. So realistically, I wouldn't be inside that buffer zone if I moved it over by 6 inches. I also was looking for a variance because of the height restriction. With a 28 by 28, the total height on that building the ridge would have been almost 29 feet at 28 foot 11 and a quarter. With the 20, and that was with the 12-12 pitch, with a 26 by 28 footprint and a 12-12 pitch, it would be a 27 foot 11 and a quarter. And if I need to, I can bring that down to a 10 pitch, which would bring it to a 25 foot 9 and a quarter. So I'm asking for a variance originally it was for a 28 by 28, but after a conversation with my neighbor, I decided to go with the 26 by 28 foot garage.
So are you removing the request for variance then, because you're going to be in your setback?
Well, I'm still not going to have at this point, I don't have the height, correct?
It's two separate things, though.
Well, that's part of the variance?
No, your two separate requests.
Okay.
So
Go ahead. So you're going to make it 26 by 28. Which way? Is it going to pull it back into the side yard setback? or-
It's going to pull it towards the north side of the house, away from the south side of the 10-foot setback, which I was into that setback
Right.
by 2'6".
I guess our point is if you're going to be back inside your setbacks, then the height will be okay.
It will
But if
be?
you weren't, if you didn't meet the setbacks for the principal building,
Okay.
you would have only been able to be 12 feet tall without a special permit.
Understood.
If we're going to pull it back to the setback mark, and again, as far as how big you build it, as long as it's in that setback to us is fine.
Okay.
But we're gonna need clarity on that to be able to write a legal decision, so. We may need to,
So just to follow up, so if he pulls it back, so he doesn't need a variance, and you're saying he doesn't need a special permit for height exception either?
if he meets the setbacks of the principal dwelling, he can go up to the 30 feet.
So he doesn't need to be here?
Well, if he, what was his other request?
Those are his two requests?
It was the request on height and a request on the setback. Initially, it was a request on a setback.
This back and pulls it back, he needs no. Even if he
no
moves
potential.
it, right?
Right. Well, he can't, he's restricted to what he can. That's why you had to shrink.
Okay, so if you're gonna shorten the building, so the width it'll be 28, 26, not 26, 28, so.
Be 26 wide, 28 deep.
No, you're gonna have to shorten the depth because to pull you back. You're restricted by your floodplain, or whatever it is, your setback, right?
The what?
You're encroaching on the buffer zone.
I was encroaching a 10-foot buffer zone to my neighbor to my right, which is south side of the property, not backwards.
What do you mean by a
Hey,
buffer
Joe,
zone?
so I think in principle,
Yeah.
so let's be careful not design the building for him. So in principle, if you bring that building back within your setback,
Mhm.
and I might be speaking out of turn, but I don't think you need to be here because you were asking for a side yard set variance.
Correct.
You've now said you don't need that because you're going to pull the building within. the
Within that
building. You-
zone,
What
correct.
were you referring to as a buffer zone? That's not clear.
10-foot?
Yeah, what is that all about?
Talking about a setback.
You're talking side yard setback?
Side setback.
Don't call it a buffer zone. That's a whole different
Okay,
something.
all right.
It is
So-
buffering, but it's not a buffer zone.
Okay.
If you just move your building inside your setback lines, you don't need any, you can just go get a building permit. You don't need us.
You can just withdraw without prejudice.
All right, like I said, initially I had requested a 28 by 28, so that's where I was looking for that.
You can still build a 28 by 28 if you just locate it inside your setback.
I see, I see.
Slide it 3 feet back that way,
Right.
and you will not need anything from the zoning board. And then you can just withdraw, and then when you resubmit your plans to get a building permit, make sure you put the footprint on inside those checkered lines,
Okay,
all right?
that's all.
So if
Great.
that's your request, we will entertain a motion to allow withdrawal without prejudice.
Is that what you'd like to do, sir? Withdraw?
Yes, sir.
So I would move,
You're right with that.
after the discussion,
Puts it on the-
for the application of John J. Kilben Jr. At 7 Riggs Point Road, I would move approval that he withdraw without prejudice.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded to allow withdrawal without prejudice. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? That's approved, 5-0. So there you go. The building department will have you redo that plot plan so the building's on the thing.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Okay. Guys, all right? The next application is the petition of Mark Sincata and Lisa Paolillo, trustees for a special permit and/or variance to replace a single-family home at 6 to 8 Twilight Avenue. And they're
Good evening.
Represented by Attorney Frontiero.
Good evening, Sal Frontiero, 46 Middle Street, Gloucester, for the applicants. We're here today seeking a special permit to alter and expand a non-conforming structure, and this is related to a tear down and rebuild. The site consists of 2 parcels of land in the little jet out area between Long Beach and Good Harbor Beach. One of the lots has a house on it, the other one is vacant. And we filed the deed restriction so that at all times, those lots are going to remain together. So they'll never be separated, and we are using both lots together in our lot area calculations and whatnot. So they'll be treated as one. They're going to remain 2 lots, but we did a deed restriction instead of going through a whole process through land court to change the plans because it is registered land. So I talked to Inspector Vicari about that. We thought that was the best way to go. So it will remain two lots, but it will be treated as one. I'm going to attempt the share thing, if you could allow me to do that. Ready? All right. Yep. All right, am I up there? No. Oh, wait, hold on. There we go. All right. So here's the, see here. It's not working. Oh, there we go. Okay. So this is the site plan. You can see the dotted line here shows the existing structure. And then the area in red shows the new structure, and the little crosshatch area is a deck. This shows the setbacks. It is a corner lot. You can see the building envelope there, the corner of Twilight and Beach Road, Long Beach Road. And you can also see, as is typical in many areas of Gloucester, the streets as laid out on the ground are not as wide as they are on paper. So although the setback there is 15 feet on the front, as a practical matter, it looks big more than that because the full area of the paper street is not paved. The site itself conforms to the R10 setback requirements, and the house is only non-conforming as it exists now as to front yard setback. It is 15 feet away instead of the required 20, and the existing structure is, and the petitioner again proposes to tear down and rebuild. The new structure will be 4 bedrooms and 3.5 baths, and it'll be slightly larger than the existing home. And it will increase lot coverage by almost 7%. And it will also increase the, although it's still going to be 15 feet away, there'll be more sort of building bulk within the setback. So it'll be adding about total of about 20 square feet or so, the difference between what it is now and what it will be. So we're here seeking a special permit for that reason. As this board knows, it's a two-pronged test. The first of which is, are you increasing the nonconformity? And I would submit here, although it's de minimis, we are in fact increasing the nonconformity. Again, we're more linear feet within the front yard setback. So although it's minor, it is increasing the nonconforming in nature. And here's some pictures of the, this is the existing home in the front. Here is the side view, right side view. And this is the other side view. And this is a rear view. So it's a fairly modest house. This is a street view. Here you can see the corner lot. This is the vacant lot I was talking about, and the lot line is about right here. The house is going to be shifted about 50 feet to the left and increased in size slightly. So again, because of the fact that we are increasing the bulk within the front yard setback, I would submit we are increasing the nonconforming nature of the structure, and therefore we need to go to the second prong of the test. And here, basically, with very, very little effect on the front yard setback, we are on a corner lot. And also the front yard setback is actually in practicality a little bit greater than it appears, 15 feet, because of the fact that the road is not paved to its maximum width. Also, although we're complying with the left side yard setback, we also are abutting a street there. So there'll be, won't be close to another residence. And based on that, I don't think it'll be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. Also under 2.4.5, we also have to condition that the tear down and rebuild be approved in the same hearing, and that the rebuild happen as expeditiously as possible after the tear down. This is the proposed front elevation. And this is the proposed left elevation. There's the right. And there's the rear. So based on this, I would submit to you it's a very minor change that the special permit should issue here.
Just curious, and you don't even have to answer my question if you don't want to, because I don't have an issue with what you're asking for with a special permit, but why not just move it back? I was just curious. That was my first question when I saw that, when I saw it before.
Good question. I'm not sure. I think they maybe wanted to maintain the same facade they had. I'm not quite sure about that.
The view. And you're, like you said, there's a lot more distance because of the road than.
Right.
There's a lot more usable distance than there is sort of legal distance. So,
Right.
okay, I was just curious.
Okay, we'll take testimony. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? In favor, come forward or raise your hand. You're on Zoom. Go ahead.
Good evening, Joel Favazza. I'm here speaking on behalf of Susan McNulty and Peter Carboni. They own and live on 2 High Rock Terrace right down the street. They were before this board a few years ago, seeking very similar relief to take the existing house, expand it a bit and rebuild. You were kind enough to grant them the relief then. We think we understand the plight of these neighbors as well, and we would hope that you too would grant them the same type of relief and allow them to also rebuild their structure.
Thank you. Anyone else in favor? Being none, is there any opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Sally, you can't speak in opposition to your own client.
I know that. I'm aware of that.
Okay, close the public testimony. No need for rebuttal. Are we ready? Or do we need any discussion? Good,
Take a motion if you want.
please.
Application of Mark J. Sincata and Lisa Polillo. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Trustees.
I believe.
What is it?
Paolillo?
Paolillo, yep. Trustees seeking special permit to alter and expand per 2.4.3 and tear down and rebuild expeditiously 2.4.5. I would move approval. I think it is an expansion of the existing nonconformity. I don't believe it's substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood, so I'd move approval of the special permit.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved, 5-0.
I'd be happy to draft the decision.
Please. We'd appreciate it. We're going to take a 2-minute break because I'm getting old.
I don't even.
Oh, you'd like to know. Yeah, I looked them up. Civic relief.
Right.
What do you need to give me?
Yeah, exactly. You guys
I agree.
decide.
I said seven? Yeah, he got there. Okay, we're back in action. The next application is that of Nancy Bellabrandi, trustee, for a special permit and a variance to replace a single-family home at 9 Waterman Road.
Good evening again, Sal Frontiero, 46 Middle Street, Gloucester for the applicant. Again, we're here today seeking a special permit to alter and expand a non-conforming structure. This is eerily similar to the last application. It's a tear down and a rebuild, and the only non-conformity has to do with the front yard setback. If we could try the screen sharing again. What's it? What do I do here? I'm in. Okay, good, great. So this is the site plan. This is in the area that has a superseding setbacks. As the board knows, in 1999, many areas in West Gloucester and North Gloucester were changed from R10 to R20. And the existing buildings that were there were sort of legally allowed to continue to use the R10 setbacks for existing structures only. And it's been clarified through Mr. Vicari and also the previous building inspector that that also applies to rebuilds. So it not only applies to the existing structure, but the rebuild. This area is in the Wingashiek section of Gloucester and West Gloucester in the R20 district, as stated. As set forth in section 3.2.2, the superseding setbacks do apply here. It is one of the streets that is listed. The structure on site was constructed in 1956, so it meets that standard. And if I may, so here is the building itself. This is the existing building, and it's being expanded to the left a bit. And here is the existing structure, a side yard view, front yard view, and most importantly, a rear yard view. This is a rather unsightly roof deck that my client inherited when she bought it. Many people don't like roof decks for their appearance and for the lack of privacy you get. So again, that'll be completely eliminated as a result of this application. And there's a street view. The new house will be a 3-bed, 2.5 bath. And I do want to mention I made a slight mistake on the application that I mentioned that the front yard setback is being decreased in one spot slightly. It's being increased. It's being increased only by 0.6 feet. So a very de minimis increase. And the overall lot coverage will increase by 6%. So looking at the standard for a single or two-family when it comes to a special permit to alter and expand, in this case, we are adding, I should mention that the site is non-conforming as the lot area. That superseding setbacks do not apply to the site. They only apply to the setbacks. So we're already on an undersized lot and we're increasing lot coverage by 6%. Again, it's complying with lot coverage. It's not even near the maximum of 30, but because we're on an undersized lot and we're increasing both the area and the bulk, and because we're increasing in a de minimis fashion, the front yard setback nonconformity, I would submit that we are increasing overall the nonconformity of the site, and we need to go to the second step, which is whether or not this is substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing situation. So basically, we're getting rid of the roof deck. We're putting a new building there. It will be 2 stories. And it has to be sited towards the front of the lot because of the fact that the septic system is in the back. And so I think people's privacy will be better without the roof deck. Most people do not like them. And the only nonconformities that are there will be just slightly increased. Again, still within lot coverage, but not even just over a half-foot increase in the front yard setback nonconformity. So based on that, again, I think it's going to be less unsightly with the deck, more privacy, and a very, very small change in the nonconformity. My client also did speak with the immediate abutters who expressed no opposition. And again, because of section 2.4.3, we also will need to condition this on the fact that the tear down and the rebuild be approved in the same hearing and that the rebuild happen as expeditiously as possible after the tear down. So very similar to the last petition. So for those reasons, I would ask that the special permit issue. And again, no new nonconformities, obviously, either. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
Did you say you need relief for the front yard setback?
No, because it's a single or a two, you only need a special permit here. Even if, because we're going a little bit close, you can either go a little bit closer or more linear feet, and you do not need a variance in this situation. Only when we're creating new nonconformities. That only applies to single and two families, but only with new nonconformities.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application, please come forward. Can you take your screen down, Sal? 'Cause can't see the public. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? No hands. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Any opposition, come forward. If you're on Zoom, raise your hand. See no one. We'll close public hearing. Discussion?
Got to make a motion? In the application of Nancy Alabrandi, trustee for special permit 1.9, 2.4.3, and 2.4.5. Oh, I'm sorry. Scratch the 1.9. I move in approval. I don't believe it's more detrimental to the neighborhood for the reasons stated.
I would second that.
Okay, motion made and seconded for special permit, alternate tear down and replace. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved, 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our next application is the application of James A. Pratt for a special permit and a variance to sell used motor vehicles at 95 Rear Maplewood Avenue. We heard this in a different format earlier and was withdrawn.
Good evening. My name is Shane LaFlamme. I own Grove Street Auto and Welding on 95 Rear Maplewood Ave. I believe a special permit,
What's your address, Shane?
my home address is 3 Mystic Ave.
Thank you. Go ahead, tell us about your project.
Request is to get a automotive dealer's license and have 2 parking spots in the rear parking lot of the building to sell cars.
And you're gonna, different from your other application, you're placing it against the back fence
Yeah, that was a recommendation.
in 2 spaces.
Went from 3 spaces down to 2 because, I'm not really selling many cars.
Yeah.
I just want the opportunity
Right.
to sell cars legally.
And we did receive a letter from the attorney representing the neighbors that were opposed to it when it was closer to their property, saying that they won't oppose it,
Yes, I got
new
that too.
application. Okay, any questions or allow testimony? Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application, please come forward. Anyone in favor? Seeing none, is there anyone in opposition to the application? Seeing none. Well, discussion, I would just like to say, appreciate the fact that you reduced it and moved it based on the recommendations of the neighbors. And hopefully it helps you out with your business.
Yes.
Somebody make a motion? 24.3 for the special permit and the variance on 2.3.4 subsection 10.
I would move approval of what you just said. And I think just in support, was the letter from Attorney Eliason the two neighbors, that I would be concerned if I was the neighbors as well, I think have signed on, that they're in favor, now that there's only two cars. and
That
that
makes
it's-
sense.
And that it's moved, to the back, to the right deep side of the lot. So I would move approval.
We have a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
James? Okay, motion made and seconded for the special permit and variance. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved 5-0.
Good luck.
And we'll get a decision out to you and you'll be able to
All
move
right, thank
forward.
you.
Thank you. Okay, our last hearing of the evening is the application of MS9 Rose Realty LLC for a special permit and a variance to place a food trailer with outdoor seating at 18 Rogers Street.
Good evening. I just come in as a panelist. No, it's all right. I know, it's all right.
Yep.
Okay. Share my screen. For the record, Joel Tavaza, Seaside Legal Solutions, 123 Main Street in Gloucester. I'm here on behalf of MS9 Realty LLC, the principal of which is Missy Sala. She is here with me tonight. And we are looking to take the vacant lot that is in transition from which was the House of Mitch to the next Sugar Magnolia's permanent structure and allow Missy to operate for the summer a temporary use. This is the quick little site plan. The little blue rectangle would be the proposed location of the food truck trailer. And then we're showing just seating areas. In reality, those show a bunch of two tops. It'll probably be more like picnic tables, that sort of thing. But the seating count, is relatively the same as what's being shown here. As you look at that, you have the Roger Street to the right. So by way of background, we are in the CB district. Missy received zoning approval back in 2023 to construct a 3-level multifamily building. The ground level will be Sugar Magnolia's permanent residence with 2 residential units above it. We're facing some construction complications that are outside of the applicant's control, and as a result, we have not gotten the building up yet. And so we're hoping to commence construction as soon as possible, but at this point, to lose another summer season is really detrimental to the long-term viability of Missy's business. Looking to maintain business continuity, community connection. I'm personally looking forward to getting some lunches from Sugar Mags again. I think I'm way out of shape since I stopped getting salads there. And so she's going to run the food truck during the peak summer months, and then at the end of the busy season, remove it and hopefully be breaking ground. So that's what's supposed to be there. And this is what's here now. It's a compacted gravel lot. There are utilities. Water has been brought in. Electricity has been brought in. They're, again, because this will be fully outdoors, everyone would order from outside the truck and eat outside. There'll be no indoor facilities. However, as part of the Chapter 91 licenses for the Gloucester House, Minglewood, and Oak to Ember, all 3 of those establishments have public restrooms that are not for patrons only. So any member of the public for any reason can use those restrooms. If someone using the temporary Sugar Mag site for lunch needs to use the restroom, they'll be able to use any of those public restrooms directly across the street. Per usual, we have the full set of plans, which is just the site plan because there's no structure. And this is another shot of the lot from the rear. This is if you're at the back of the cafe looking down toward Rogers Street. This is from the side. This is actually called Boynton Way. I learned that when we did the last round of permitting. This road actually has a name. It's just a little parking lot. Again, back down to the corner at Rogers. And now I'm over on the left-hand side looking from Rogers. So this is a neat little permit. I don't think I've been before you asking for one of these special temporary structures, but it does still use the 1.8.3 standards just to find that it's in harmony with the intent and purpose of the GZO, won't adversely affect the neighborhood, and use a 6-factor test. So again, social economic community needs. We're allowing this local favorite restaurant to maintain a presence in the city after its recent absence. We're also allowing Missy to derive some revenue from this site that she's been carrying for years. Traffic flow and safety, again, no off-street parking is required due to the proximity to municipal lots. And certainly, you've already once before said this is the appropriate spot for a restaurant that would seat more than what's being proposed for temporary food service location. And so this is going to be probably pulling in more foot traffic than anything we're hoping. As for utilities, again, we have water and electricity on site. We have nearby facilities for people who need to use restrooms, neighborhood character and social structure. I think this will be a positive effect on neighborhood character. Again, Sugar Mags was and hopefully will be a popular breakfast and lunch dining option. This is great for tourists visiting downtown. It's also great for year-round businesses downtown, again, looking for lunch options for their employees. And it also helps connect Boynton Way, which is that, again, that little street that goes up to the parking lot, help connect Rogers and Main Street. One of the things that we always hear about when they do studies of the downtown is about connectivity issues. And this, much like the original proposal, does allow for a connected relationship between Main Street and Rogers Street. Quality of the natural environment, there'll be no impact on those. Fiscal impact, because Missy will be driving revenue from meal sales. She'll be putting in some meals tax to the city. And as far as vulnerability to flooding and flood damage, we are in a floodplain, but this is a temporary structure. It does not have to comply with the flood construction code. And if something really bad was coming, you could get the tables up and out and, you know, make sure like anyone would do with a picnic table in their yard kind of thing. You could get it out of the way before, you know, hurricane or something nasty hit. So again, I think we've met the test for the the 7 factors now for the 1.8.3 test. And so again, we're just asking for a special permit for temporary structures or uses not conforming to the ordinance, and that is section 2.3.6 sub 3, which again, I think is a new one for me. And I hope you will find that you can grant that so we can get this thing up and running. Thank you so much.
Quick question. Time limit.
So if you want, we could probably do like end of September. Okay, my bad. So what's the date you want? We can do October 31st.
Yeah, I don't have an issue. Like
Yeah.
6 months would even be fine with me. I just feel like there needs to be a
Yeah,
time limit.
yeah, October
on
31st is,
Permit, that's all.
yeah, 6 months from over.
I mean, it's gonna get cold. People aren't gonna sit outside anymore, obviously.
I couldn't find a definition or a limit in the code for the temporary structure. Maybe
Right.
there should be one. but-
If you want to put a limit on, we take 6 months, we take the end of October. Again, what's going to really drive this is once things slow and we have the other okays unrelated to your board to start, you know, breaking ground again. 'Cause, you know, Missy's hoping to not be doing.
So the
Right.
building permit would be only good for 180 days anyway. That's all temporary structure permit is for.
Oh,
It's only good for
6 months.
180 days.
I'm good
anyway.
then. I don't need to
Okay.
add anything that's already there.
beautiful.
Okay, let's go to public testimony. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? Please come forward. Anyone in favor? Name and addresses, don't forget for the
Hi,
record. You can all get in line.
My name is Zorba Kinnickstein. I'm at 594 Western Ave in Gloucester. I was going to Missy's restaurant for years. I think we can all agree whatever she does will be infinitely better than the House of Mitch was. You know, I own another restaurant in Gloucester and there's definitely demand and she's been doing a great thing for so long. I think we should give her the chance to give the public another option. And yeah, I think she's great and she should be allowed to move forward.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
My name is Rebecca Liberty. I live at 10 Cedar Lane in Gloucester. We have missed Sugar Mags dearly, and we were hoping that she would get this opportunity to be there for the summer, and then everyone will be looking forward to the permanent building. And she has a great staff of people and a lot of support from people in the city as well. Thank you.
Good evening. Francis Aliberti, 10 Cedar Lane in Gloucester. Besides being on the board at the library, I volunteer at Maritime Gloucester. And other than the Crow's Nest, A lot of people ask, where's Sugar Mags? Because it's been in Yankee Magazine. So she helps draw business to the city. And she has a huge following. If you remember, the event at the Cut was an hour and a half wait to get in, which was Tom's most successful restaurant event of the year. So this is something that benefits the whole city and benefits those that love her food. So thank you.
Thank you. Kevin had a good.
Hi, my name is Arwen Severance. I live at 15 Bennett Street North. I am a local business owner. I have a bookstore on Main Street. I can attest as to how missed Sugar Magnolias has been. I field questions daily from tourists and locals alike as to when it's coming back to us. I believe there's a great need for Sugar Mags to be back. It has brought nothing but positivity and love and yummy food to Gloucester, and it is being sorely missed. So it's about time it's back. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Cullen. I live at 100 Main Street in Gloucester. So I live right downtown, and I did live 2 doors down. I'd be a little bit further now to walk to Sugar Mags, but I definitely sorely miss it. And I think we need as many options as we can get, especially for lunch. You have a lot of tourists looking for places to eat. You know, all the time people stop me in the street even. So we just can't wait for Sugar Mags to be open full-time in their new location, but this will do for part-time. We would be really grateful if you would grant the permit.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Georgia Hart. 4 Pebble Path is my address. This is my mom. Best mom ever, best businesswoman ever. I think we can all agree she's been running this city in terms of food. And I really want my job back. And I think she really wants her job back as well. We need to start making money so that we can go on more vacations. Love her to death. And she really, she's just amazing. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Adam Bonds. I live at 1 Becker Lane. So my wife and I own another food truck, Good and Ready food truck, and we can understand the complications and difficulties it is getting that business going, especially with permits and all the rules and regulations. And I feel like we should all support each other. You got an empty lot. Some place people need to eat. People love food trucks. If you can fill a void, do it. So please grant her this request. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the application? No. Any opposition? Seeing none, we'll close the hearing. One thing I assume the board is going to vote for this, and I'd like to suggest that second part of the motion, because of the lateness of the season, it'd be up to the board. I would be in favor of it if they would pre-grant permission based on the decision being written to my satisfaction, that they would give me permission to sign the decision as soon as it's ready, just in the interest of helping them to get through their appeal period in business. So if somebody wants to make a motion on the application and include that as a secondary, I'll go for that.
Yeah, so application of MS9 Rose Realty LLC for a special permit for, what's the word I'm looking for? Yep. To place a food truck, a trailer at the outside, with outside seating at 18 Roger Street. For all the reasons stated, I would move approval of the special permit. And I think we agreed that it already has a 180-day limit on it, so it's just there.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on the application. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I'll accept a motion to grant the chair permission to sign the decision if it's satisfactory as soon, without coming back to the next meeting. Motion?
So I'd move approval that the chair can sign the decision once he reviews it. Doesn't need to come back for the next meeting.
Second.
Made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, if you can get that. Anybody have anything else they want to bring up? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.